Hey everyone, this is Todd from UXly Software, creators of One-Shot API. Check this out. I'm using n8n to automate crypto AI workflows. So let's say I want to do an airdrop. I have a spreadsheet of wallets with an amount of tokens to give out. Well, I can have an n8n workflow that's as simple as this that I can execute. Automatically use One-Shot API to submit the transactions to the blockchain, and then update my Google Sheets once it's done to mark the accounts that have had tokens dropped to them. We come over here to One-Shot API and check my transaction history. Here's my transactions being submitted from that step, and it's as simple as that. So let me show you how I made this workflow. This is a super simple one. We're going to walk through all the steps of creating this. So the first thing is, in One-Shot, you're going to want to create an escrow wallet for the blockchain that your airdrop asset is on. So in this case, I was actually distributing USDC on the base mainnet. So I have a base wallet and I've put some base ETH in it. We're going to be using that in a second. The second one is API keys. You want to generate some API keys for your n8n instance. So n8n, today is 6/25. So we're going to use those API credentials to authenticate our One-Shot API node against our account. And then lastly, you're going to want a wallet with some tokens in it. So in this case, I have my MetaMask wallet, I have USDC in my MetaMask wallet, and I've approved this account to allow my base One-Shot API hot wallet to spend $20 worth of USDC. Okay, so let's build our flow. Over here, let's come to Overview. Let's create a new workflow. We'll add a manual trigger step. Okay, so we'll just click this and it will start our n8n flow. First thing, we want to read the values from our G-Sheet spreadsheet. Okay, so I'm going to type in Google Sheets. We are going to get rows from a sheet. I'm going to use my credential from my G-Sheets account that I've already set up. I'm going to be reading a sheet within a document. I'm going to be getting rows from the n8n airdrop document. And we're going to be reading from sheet 1 on that page. Now, I've set this demo up such that if I add more rows to this spreadsheet over time, it won't come back and redrop to the same rows more than once. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the delivered column and say, on the delivered column, only if that column is blank do I want you to read from it. So, for instance, if I execute it currently, I have no data because I've already delivered to all of these rows. If I delete a couple, run it again, okay, there's those 2 rows simulating having not been airdropped to yet. Okay, so that's the first node in my flow. G-Sheets, back to Canvas, auto-saved for us. Now let's add our One-Shot node. So we're going to come here to One-Shot. Here, we're going to be executing transactions. Let's create a new credential so you can see what that looks like. To add a credential, you need your client key and secret and your business ID. So back over here, API keys, that's the one we just made. Let's copy that. Drop it in here. Grab our secret. Drop it there, and then lastly we need the business ID that we're operating in. So if I come over to organizations, details, grab that business ID, drop it here, save. Okay, so now we are linked against our One-Shot account. Now we can search for endpoints to execute against. So to do that, I'm just going to walk you through this complete step here. I want to add the transfer from function on the USDC smart contract. So on base scan, if I grab the smart contract address for USDC, plop that in there, tell it to look for it on base chain, fetch the ABI. Great. So we're going to come down here. We're going to choose transfer from. And we're going to add that to our endpoints. And we're going to name it so we can find it easy. Base USDC transfer from n8n. And we'll leave the rest of this the same. So create that endpoint. And if we come over here and filter, see, that's the endpoint that we just added to our organization. So we should be able to find that now. Let's look up base USDC. There's the one we just imported. So we're going to be using that function. Now here's the cool part where n8n is super handy. We're going to say from, and I'm going to from the wallet that holds my USDC, which is this one. So that's going to be a static value. Then it takes a 2, and the 2 will be the wallet address from our spreadsheet. So let's drop that in there. Make sure that that goes here. Just like that. And then lastly, there is a value field. So we're going to fill that in. So value. And the value is also going to be from our spreadsheet, which has already put the decimal places onto the end for us. So let's put that here. We need to put it in quotes because this is a JSON payload. Right there. Great. There's our preview. Last thing, we are going to add a memo field. OneShot lets you attach memos to each transaction so that you know what it was for. So we're going to put in the memo field the row number that the transaction is associated with from our spreadsheet. And we want to put it inside of quotes so it plays nicely with n8n. And if we execute this, we're going to do these last 2 rows. If we execute this to test it, so let's try that. Execute step. And you can see, here's our 2 transactions that we submitted to OneShot. So, final step. Final step is to come back to our canvas. Let's save. One more G-sheet node to update our sheet. And we're going to update a row in the sheet using that credential sheet from within the doc. We're going to update a row. And what we're going to do is we are going to match on the row number, which is in our memo field. So let's get the memo, put it here, and then we want to convert it to a number. So parse JSON, like that. And then delivered, we want it to write a green check mark, like this. Okay, execute step. Boom. Okay, so now we have recreated our n8n workflow that I demonstrated at the very beginning. You can see now if we execute it, there's no new rows to distribute to. If we delete some of these green check marks and run it again, there you go. You can see from our transaction history, there's our transactions. And so that is a super simple use case for OneShot API's new n8n node in your AI and agent workflows in n8n. We're going to be coming out with a lot of new workflows in the next couple of weeks. Stay tuned for those. Excited to show you all more.